The Bouncer, Springman. Looking at Springman's stats, he is pretty balanced in everything, and all of Springman's abilities are extremely good to have. His first ability is the Shockwave. When Springman raises a charge before it is complete, he will release a Shockwave that will block nearby arms. This will block punches and even grabs. This will even block rush attacks, but can't be used to block a full rush, and is only recommended to use in order to get out of the way, or put you in a spot to guard it. His second ability is Perma-Charge. When Springman's health is under 25%, he will become Perma-Charge, and his arms will always be charged, giving him a chance to, quote-unquote, bounce back. He can still release his Shockwave by releasing a charge before it is complete, but otherwise he has no need to charge. If Springman's health goes back up to 25% or higher, he will no longer be Perma-Charged. The Heiress, Ribbon Girl. As of her namesake, Ribbon Girl has very good mobility in the air, and here's how. Ribbon Girl has the ability to jump multiple times. In fact, she can jump a maximum of 4 times before she needs to land. Each time she jumps, she can change which direction she goes in, but each jump is shorter, so she won't go as high. If you perform an air dodge, if you continue to hold the button, she will do a quick drop and fall to the ground much quicker than normal. The Student of Stealth, Ninjara. Ninjara is a very tricky character and great for playing mind games with your opponents. When Ninjara air dodges, he disappears in a puff of smoke before he reappears in whatever direction you are dodging. This can be very useful for making it hard for your opponent to predict what direction you're dodging to. When Ninjara is punched while guarding, he will teleport away from it. Because of this, he won't take any damage and his guard won't break. However, if Ninjara is frozen, his guard looks like normal. When Ninjara teleports while guarding, there is a brief moment where he is vulnerable to hit. This can be an issue because when guarding, Ninjara will teleport in a random direction, so it is entirely possible for Ninjara to teleport into another attack. Because of this, depending on your opponent's arms, I do not recommend trying to guard a rush from Ninjara. Your best bet is to dodge it or knock your opponent out of it. If you don't think you can manage that, then your best option is to guard and hope you don't teleport into it. The Grim Creeper, Master Mummy. Master Mummy is big, heavy, and slow, and this is what makes him such a strong fighter. When Master Mummy guards, his health will regenerate. He'll recover at a rate of 10 HP about every second. The longer he holds his guard, the rate becomes faster. The rate will reset if he is hit by a big enough hit, or if his guard is released. Master Mummy is a heavyweight fighter. Because of this, he will not flinch when he is dashing or punching or even jumping. Certain attributes are affected by no flinching, like stun and ice, but the effects are still present. But Master Mummy will still not flinch. When Master Mummy takes damage while punching, dashing, or jumping, he will only take half of the damage from certain arms. This is another useful ability of heavy characters. The Ramen Bomber, Min Min. Min Min is a fighter that is very good at applying pressure on your opponents. When Min Min fully charges, her left arm turns into a dragon. When like this, her left arm will be permanently charged. She can lose a dragon arm, however, if she is knocked down or her dragon arms become disabled. Min Min can also get the dragon arm if she successfully gets grabbed. When Min Min dashes in the air, she will throw out a kick that will block arms. She can dash in any direction in the air to release this kick. She can even use this kick on the ground, but only when dashing backwards. The timing of the kick can be a little awkward, but if you can get used to it, it will give you a good opportunity to counterattack. The Scrapyard Scrapper, Mechanica. Despite her appearance, Mechanica is a surprisingly mobile character. When Mechanica dashes, if you continue to hold down the button, she will glide for a little while. She can even change her direction while she's gliding, but turning is a little slow. When she is jumping, if you continue to hold the button, she will hover for a little bit. Unlike when dashing, she cannot change direction in the middle of it, and she can only hover at the peak of her jump. Mechanica is a heavyweight, just like Master Mummy, so when dashing, jumping, or punching, she will not flinch from certain arms and will only take half the damage. The non-finishing ability is still active even when gliding or hovering. The Silver Screen Queen, Twintail. Twintail is a character I can honestly recommend for new players, due to her being a very well-rounded character. When Twintail charges, she surrounds with health in an aura. When like this, any nearby arms will be slowed down. This can be great for giving you an extra second to plan your next move or give you a good opening to counterattack. However, this does not affect the laser of the dragons. The dragons can technically be slowed down by only the heads. This aura will even slow down rush attacks, but you're given much less time to react. Twintail can even charge in the air by holding the dash button after jumping. She will stay in place in the air while charging, and she will be surrounded by her aura. The Clockwork Cops, Bite and Bark. Bite and Bark are characters that have a lot more to them than you might think. Bite and Bark work as a team, but you can't control Bark directly. When Bite throws a punch, Bark will throw one about a second later. After that punch, he will then throw a second one after about another 5 seconds. Bark is unable to curve his punch, and he will always be equipped with a toaster, but his does much less damage. He will deal 30 damage uncharged and 70 damage when it is. Bark will charge the same time Bite does. While he is charged, he will also punch the same time as Bite. Bark can be hit, and when he does, he will be knocked down for about 5 seconds before getting back up. When Bite guards, Bark will run in front of him, protecting from an incoming punch. He will also do this if your opponent activates a rush attack. Bite can actually jump on Bark. When you do this, it will create a shockwave that will block attacks. If you continue to hold the jump button when jumping on Bark, you will get some extra height. Bite himself doesn't really have that great of stats. He is fairly tall, making him fairly easy to hit, and his dash isn't very fast and leaves a bit of an opening. So it is important to understand how Bark works and how to properly take advantage of what you're able to do with him. The Speed Demon, Kid Cobra. Kid Cobra can be a very tricky fighter. Kid Cobra has the fastest jump in the game, and his jump can cover more distance than any other characters. Kid Cobra's dash, however, is very slow, and it doesn't cover that much distance. While Kid Cobra has arguably the worst dash in the game, he also has the best dash in the game. When Kid Cobra is charged, his dash becomes much faster and covers much more distance. He will dash in spurts, and a full charge will allow him to dash up to a max of 5 times. When Kid Cobra is charge dashing, he is treated like he is airborne, so if he is hit while dashing, he will be knocked down. This also affects certain arms, but we actually haven't seen these types of arms yet, so I'll be covering them later on. When Kid Cobra uses charge dash to dash forward, he can slide underneath your opponent's attack. This can be great for giving you an opening to punish your opponent. You're not invincible during this though. You can be hit during this, and there are certain arms you can't normally slide underneath. The timing of this can be a little tricky to get down, and it can be a little more difficult on a slope. Now real quick, I want to talk about a technique called dash jumping. It works as it sounds, dashing into a jump to get some extra distance. Since Kid Cobra already has the farthest reaching jump in the game, he can get some insane distance from this. Using the spawning as an example, from the 2 farthest corners, Kid Cobra can cover nearly half the stage from dash jumping. That's about the same distance Mechanica can cover from dash jumping and hovering. The Man of Mystery, Helix. Helix is weird, awkward, and kinda questionable. My best advice for playing as him is to be weird, awkward, and kinda questionable. Helix is widely considered to be the most difficult character in the game to learn due to his abilities. When Helix holds the jump button, he will stretch out his body. When like this, he can't move from his spot, but he can move his upper body to avoid attacks. While Helix is in this state, his arms will be permanently charged. When Helix dashes, he will shrink down. Like Kid Cobra's dash, Helix can use his duck underneath opponent's attacks. Helix's dash doesn't cover much distance, so keep that in mind. The Kamish, Max Brass. Despite his poor landings, Max Brass is a very strong fighter. When Max fully charges, he buffs up. When like this, Max becomes much faster, he also becomes a heavyweight and will not flinch and only take half the damage from certain punches. He will also become like this when he grabs a grab. When Max releases a charge before it is complete, he will release a shockwave that will block arms. When Max health hits 25% or lower, he will become permabuff. The Sucker Puncher, Lola Pop. Lola Pop is a very defensive fighter. When Lola is guarding, she is able to move forward and backwards. This can be great for safely approaching your opponent. She can jump out of a guard to get some extra height. She can also leap out of a guard by dashing in any direction. Lola is able to air guard by holding dash in mid-air. Her air guard is only able to block one punch, however. The Spirited Fighter, Misango. Misango is a fighter who can adapt to the situation. Misango is accompanied by a little spirit. When Misango charges fully, he infuses himself with the spirit, and depending on the color of the spirit, different effects will happen. If the spirit was blue, Misango will gain better mobility on the ground and in the air, but his arms become a little smaller in return. If the spirit was red, Misango will have decreased mobility, but will become like a heavyweight and will not flinch and take less damage from certain punches. If Misango's spirit was yellow, it makes him a little slower but fills his rush gauge faster. When he activates a rush with the yellow mask on, he will be temporarily invincible. When Misango guards, the spirit will run in front of him, creating a shield that will block a few attacks. You are also able to infuse the spirit by walking into it during this state. Depending on the mask Misango is wearing, his grab damage will be different. Misango will deal 160 damage without the mask. With the red mask, he will deal 180 damage, and with the blue or yellow mask, he will deal 150. The Mean Machine, Springtron. Springtron can be a very overpowering fighter. Springtron plays a lot like Springman with a few differences. Springtron moves a little slower than Springman. Just like Springman, when Springtron releases a charge before it is complete, he will release a shockwave that will block nearby arms. Unlike Springman, Springtron will not become permanently charged when his health gets under 25%. When Springtron fully charges, he will release a giant shockwave that will disable any shot at arms in range. After releasing the shockwave, Springtron will become much faster and stay charged for a while. There is a brief moment after releasing the shockwave that you are left vulnerable to attack, so you need to be careful about when you release it. One option you have is activate your rush immediately after releasing the shockwave to block any attempt to punish its opening. The Rad Scientist, Dr. Coil. Dr. Coil is an all-around strong fighter. Dr. Coil does not have a jump. Instead, holding the jump button will make her float higher. She will continue to float at that height as long as you hold that button. Since she has no jump, Dr. Coil cannot charge by holding the jump button. Also, because she doesn't have a jump, any arm that can be shot out differently depending on if it's used on the ground or in the air, for example the Scorpio, can only be shot out as if it were used on the ground. When Dr. Coil holds a guard for long enough, she will become invisible for a brief moment, making it hard to predict your movement. She will also become temporarily invisible while getting back up after being knocked down. When Dr. Coil fully charges, she will gain a third arm that will randomly appear on her left or right shoulder. She only has a short amount of time to throw it out before it disappears, and it will become the same arm as what is equipped to the side it appears on. The third arm will be shot out right after the arm is copying. The Secret Weapon, Headlock. I bet you weren't expecting this, were you? That's right, I plan on going over every character from the beginning, and Headlock is one of those characters that I plan to go over. So, let's go over him now. Headlock becomes an item in Headlock Scramble. It will drop in inside a cage that you will need to break open by hitting it. Once the cage is open, you can equip Headlock by either walking into it or hitting it. Regardless of who broke it open, the cage, anyone can grab Headlock at this point. When you grab Headlock, he will remain equipped for roughly 12 seconds. When this timer runs out, Headlock will disappear before coming back down in another cage later. If you get knocked down while Headlock is equipped, Headlock will fall off and is free to be picked up again. Once Headlock is equipped, you gain an additional 4 arms, 2 on the right and on the left, and they will copy the same arm equipped to that side. They will fire right after each other, and if you get the timing down, you can even launch them in different directions. With Headlock equipped, your grab will change into Headlock's grab, which will deal 200 damage. All 6 of your arms will shoot out, just 2, giving you 3 opportunities to grab. Just like your grab, your rush will also change. You will shoot out a giant fireball that, if it hits directly, will deal massive damage. Even if it doesn't, it causes a big explosion at the end. Careful though, because this can hurt you too if you're too close. Certain characters' abilities may work differently with Headlock equipped. When Min Min has her Dragon Arm, all arms on the left will be permanently charged. When Bite has Headlock, Bulk will not be by your side. Just like with Bite, when Misango has Headlock, his Spirit Companion is gone, and you can't change your stats. If you were imbued before collecting Headlock, you will lose it. When Dr. Coil has Headlock, she doesn't gain extra arm when charged. Any character abilities I have not mentioned are unchanged.